Well, good morning, everybody. It's Tuesday morning. The date is June 4th, 2024. And I am Sergeant Friday with the Your Ass Hurts News Network. And I just wanted to put together a little clip, a message to Sebastian Rogers. Sebastian Rogers, for those of you that do not know, is a 15-year-old boy, soon to be a man, who's gone missing in the state of Tennessee. The circumstances under which he went missing are almost mind numbing. They seem almost improbable and impossible, yet uh, they're real. Between the hours of midnight and 6:30 a.m., he went missing. There's no video footage. There's no cell coverage. There's no evidence to show that he went missing from his own home, other than the fact that he is not in the home. We were told that he had left the home with no shoes and no cell phone, and there's been no trace of Mister or little or Sebastian Rogers since that particular morning, more than 94 days ago. And so I just wanted to send a message to Sebastian, let him chew on this a little bit. Um, I suspect that if you're able to listen to Sebastian, you might find it funny to know that my real first name is Bruno. And I myself, at the age of 14, was actually homeless. I was displaced from the home that I was in with step parents, and I found myself living in cars, but still maintaining my schoolwork as best as I could, depending on the school for meals and for other things. So, being that I'm a lot older than you, um, back when this happened to me, this was more than 40 years ago, um, the world was a different place. Services that were available to us and things that could be done or could not be done are much different than they are today. But let's get back to the topic of you, Sebastian. Um, I had a hard time with my family. I had step parents and no idea who my real parents are. And you are in a similar situation to an extent. And Chris, Katie are your parents. And, as everybody keeps pointing out, he's your stepdad. But nonetheless, he's the adult. He's the father. He's the role model and the man in charge of providing for the home. And of course, he does that. Things that he does or doesn't do, you may not agree with. The same goes with your mother. You have a father, Seth Rogers. Um, it's estranged from you in as much as through the divorce process. And again, he's as fallible as the rest of us, and as fallible as Katie and Chris. And you know, I'm sure some of this may have something to do with why you walked off. I also am what they call autistic, or on the spectrum of autism with Asperger's. And part of the reason I was displaced from my home was because I had my own ideas, my own wants, my own desires. And I can tell you that it made me who I am now. The capacity to communicate, to mingle with other people, to fit in, um, actually was the benefit I got from going my own way. Obviously, things are tough, things are difficult, things are never the way we want them, and you have to weigh that against not just the dangers, but the challenges that are faced when you're so young and you move on or try to move on. Now, I suspect uh, and I hope that there's adults that are in your circle at this time, or have been from the time you've gone missing. Adults that have your best interests at heart. Adults that, unfortunately, Sebastian, would be um, possibly in the commission of a crime. For the longer you stay missing, the longer the people that may or may the longer the people that are helping you, um, the longer you stay missing, the more problems they're going to incur when you do decide to come back out and resurface. So I guess in this message to you, I want you to consider that the people that help you, that seem to be um, better than your parents, the people that agree with you, or the people that want to give you exactly what you want, whatever the reason, you're putting them in serious jeopardy and danger. And in addition to that, obviously your real parents, when you're fortunate, you got two dads and a mom, which is, I know people think a bad thing, but in reality, it's kind of a good thing when you're trying to grow up. Um, and that unfortunately, I think, is what we as children, because we're not old enough to look back yet, but when we're in our early teens, we have no understanding or concept of what the role of the parent is, and what the economic situations of the parents are, and what their emotional issues are, or whatever it might be. But the point is that parents are highly fallible. Parent and priest and police and judge, and those are just titles. Never forget that there's always a person that wears that title. But that title in and of itself does not mean that they're going to act, behave, or do anything in any specific manner because of that title. A priest can lie, a judge can lie, a parent can lie. All of these people can have addiction issues. All of these people can have amazing things going for them. They could be honest and loving and cheerful and happy and doing all the right things. But not all parents and priests and judges and anyone else you give a title, not all of them are able to do that. We're all faulted. We're all faulty as human beings. And you should be aware of that, because that faulting of human beings does basically rear its head the most when you're dependent upon other human beings when you're young. And it seems to affect us much, much more when we're young than when we're older. When we're older, we have the abilities and the means to actually make choices and then stick with them and go with them. Where when you're young, like you, for whatever reason, you felt the only choice open to you was to just run away. And I get that. I understand that. I ran away multiple times before I actually didn't need to run away anymore. They kicked me out. And, I don't fault them for that now. Back then, I hated them for it. Oh, boy, did I hate them for that. And I could get into a whole litany of things that I didn't like and I hated. But let me just say this. When you get older and you can reflect, you'll see that regardless of what it was that you lived through, the only thing in life that matters is yourself to yourself. And you've got to do the best things for yourself. Even when doing the best thing for yourself causes you discomfort, irritates you, angers you, you must put yourself first and do the best thing for yourself. And running away and hiding is definitely not one of the best things you can do for yourself. You're not quite a fugitive. You're not in a situation where there's been any crime. Running away is not a crime. It's not criminal. But the damage done and the wreckage left behind you when you run away, and you have three parents that in their own way completely love you and are suffering. And that suffering is real. The suffering is real. You especially see it in your father, and you can see it in Katie, how she's crawled into a cocoon, and Chris trying to stand up and protect the cocoon. It's my hope that if you've listened to anything on the internet or come across any of the things on the internet and the information that you're hearing about your parents, some bad, a lot bad, and the bickering of between what we will call your parents is very, very heart-wrenching, I'm sure. It's very, very eye-opening. These are things that parents, and you'll see as you get older, we all have skeletons in our closet. We all make mistakes. That's the point of being human. We all are wrong. And for some reason, Sebastian, we choose to hide from them or try to pretend things didn't happen or things aren't the way they are. And that's the tragedy of humanity. Being wrong is the first door that you open to actually learning. And discomfort and disagreements are part of life. You're going to have that until the day you're no longer with us. Could be 100 years old when you pass away. You're going to see that going through life is Generally decent, generally easy, but there are many, many moments that you wish you didn't have to experience. And that goes for every single one of us. We're fallible. Our parents are fallible. Choices they make on our behalf don't always sit well with us, the child. Okay. And, there can be a lot of tension. And so I can relate to your leaving like that. But I also can relate um, to your family. And then I have a daughter myself that's now 24. And I can relate to your family's heartache and their despair and their desperation to know that you're okay. And I didn't make this video to tell you to go home. I didn't make this video to tell you anything at all, other than to just let you know you're not the first 15-year-old to be in the position you're in, and you won't be the last. But what I think would be a recommendation, a recommendation I would like to share with you. Unlike your parents, my step parents didn't care what happened to me or where I went. They never looked in. They never even looked for me. They just let me go about whatever way I was going to go about. And, that's just even sharing that is a bit heart-wrenching. But let me just point out, unlike me, your parents do care. And I think that their level of concern, their level of love and care for you does deserve some kind of acknowledgement that you're okay. In some way, you need to get some message or some signal to your parents or to a loved one connected to your parents or to a friend connected to your family and let them know that you're okay. That would be the least you could do in this situation. But in all reality, it would also be the best thing you could do. Sometimes the most is not always the best. And sometimes the least, like in this situation, is the best. And so I guess, I was thinking of bribing you or offering something, but I think you're smart enough to know the anguish and the despair, regardless of how faulty your parents are, regardless of what things that make you angry about your parents, regardless of which parent or all parents, whatever the issue is that's made you separate yourself from them, they've suffered. They've suffered 1,000-fold with your being missing. And I would like to just ask you to some way, in some shape or form, reach out in a way. If you want to protect your anonymity, you want to protect your location, I'm not objecting to that. But I am asking that you actually reach out in some way. Let your mom Katie, your father Seth, and your stepfather Chris know that no harm has come to you, that you weren't kidnapped. I've imagined the fear and the terror they're living through. A lot about the modern world you may not know about. We do as adults. And it's horrifying what happens to children in this world. And it happens way too often, Sebastian. And just to put their hearts at ease, knowing that you're okay, would be a massive relief to not just them. Let me just say, to even the idiots online, including myself, who can be an idiot at times. I'm no different than anyone else. But it would provide massive relief to all of us in our hearts that you're okay and you're living your life. And that's all we need to know. We don't need to know where you're living your life, how you're living your life. None of those details matter. The only detail that I think would matter at this time would be just to know that you're okay. And you would be doing, I would at this point say, millions of people a huge favor. And, listen, of course, they're all going to go batshit crazy and try to find you, right? That's not why I'm doing this. I'm not trying to trick you or, con you or hustle you. I'm simply pointing out that it would be a benefit to not just your family, but it would be a benefit, and it would silence these people on the internet that talk bad of your parents. Your parents, whether they're good or bad people, is not for anyone to judge. especially somebody like me that runs a YouTube stream. And that damage that's been done to your mom and to your dad and to your stepdad because of the internet has just been, they don't deserve that no matter what. And so please, if you do get the ability to hear this, if you do go hashtag Sebastian Rogers, if you do come this crazy guy, Bruno, reach out in some way, a letter, a note, an email, something, so that they know that you're okay. And then let things go from there. I want to wish you all the luck in the world, all the happiness. I think all of us, or anybody that's heard your name, or anybody that's aware of your situation, I think all of us, no matter our disagreements, would agree on that particular aspect. We want to know you're okay, and we want to know that the situation you're in is good for you, and you're going to be good being where you're at. All right, I'm running out of things to say, but Sebastian, just a signal. Send a signal. Let them know you're all right. And thanks for listening.